What's up everyone, welcome to the video. My name is Forthy and today I am going to be detailing a couple quick tips for you guys that are more generalized tips. I'm going to have more specific videos going out later for each map and each game mode, but today just going to hit you with a quick couple of tips to improve your game in Black Ops 3, Call of Duty in general, but Black Ops 3 specifically. So without further ado, let's hop right into tip number one, and that is game knowledge. Now, what I mean by game knowledge is know what classes to use, know the guns that complement your style, because there are some guns that I just don't like to use. You know, it's not because they're bad guns, it's because they don't feel right to me. You know what I mean? And so that's just a personal preference thing. I do believe that anyone can be good with any gun, like for example the Kuda that I'm using right here. I used to be shit with this thing. I used to absolutely not be able to hit any of my shots, but once you really learn how each gun feels, then you can kind of work with it. But when a game first comes out, or when you're first trying to get good, develop your playstyle, figure out what kind of gun feels best. Figure out if you like sniper rifles, figure out if you like SMGs or assault rifles better, and play with those to kind of boost up your skill level a little bit. So what also comes along with game knowledge is map knowledge. So know where to look for people to spawn. Like I turned around right there and watched for that dude to spawn because I was completely ready for it to happen, because in some maps you just need to know where to look for people, the timings and things like that. So that only comes with practice. Just practice and play a ton. YouTube videos are also helpful, but just general game knowledge is never a bad thing. Tip number two here is aim or improving your shot. Now this is a tricky one. Now, there's no shame in playing with bots to improve your aim. This is something that I do frequently. I'll just hop into a match with bots, and what I'll do is I'll just work on my shot. Now, my shot is not golden. I really rely on my movement to make up for my bad aim, but aim is very important. Improving your shot is something that only can happen really with playing. So just play a lot, play with all different guns, play with all different game modes. One big thing, though, with aiming that I will say is learn how to center and recenter. Now, I'm going to show you a quick clip here really quick. Let's hop into a private match on Breach to show you how recentering works. So let's say I want to look at bottom lab there. I want to look up in top AC. I want to look over here in Palace and then this back left AC here. Let's say I want to keep looking at all those. What I'll do to practice centering is I will just center on each of these over and over again. What you do is you're unzooming and moving and then zooming back to the spot you want to zoom on. And obviously mine is not perfect. No one's really is, but this really helps you to aim quicker as opposed to trying to drag from spot to spot while holding down the aiming key. So work on it. You're going to improve your centering over time. It's just something that's very important because people move so quickly in this game. You can't keep up with them, you know, if you're just always aim down sights unless you have a crazy high sensitivity. So learn to play on a low sensitivity, which will improve your aim, but also to be able to recenter accurately. Now the next thing that I have for you, number 3 here, is challenge high. Now I want to show you another quick clip here to give you a quick example of what I mean by challenge high. So over here on Stronghold with a thermal sniper, we're going to jump up, peek someone, and get the shot off. Now the reason this is so effective, the reason this works well, the reason I'm telling you guys to challenge high is because that person, if they were looking for me and weren't a bot, would be looking right there. Right? They'd be looking for me to challenge, but I'm going to challenge up there instead. That person's not going to be able to hit me from that position. I'm going to take them a little bit off guard. So again, I say almost always challenge high. And what this does for you is if you can't completely trust your own aim to make you win gunfights, what you can do is you can at least get yourself in a little bit of a vantage position so that the enemy won't be able to peek you or pre-aim you in the position that you're going to be coming from. Now, some people have learned where to pre-aim people for jump spots like that, but for the most part, every time you get in a gunfight, it doesn't hurt you to just boost. You see me doing it a lot this game. Every time I start shooting at someone, I pretty much boost up as high as I possibly can in the air. Makes you so much harder to shoot, makes it so much easier for you to get down, an angle down on the person, and it's so much harder for them to move up than it is for you to look down, in my opinion. So again, always challenge high, always boost up when you're trying to shoot people. I would just boost all the time, really. Just keep yourself high up in the air because this game allows it. So again, last time, challenge your gun battles high because people expect you to challenge at eye level. So gives you a little bit of a benefit, but let's move on to the next tip here. So tip number 4 that I've got for you guys is movement. Now movement wins more gunfights than aim, believe it or not. If you have good movement, and you'll see it happening a lot in this game specifically, my movement saves my life. My movement wins my gunfights because my aim is not fantastic. My aim is decent, but my movement is really what's keeping me from getting shot. So practice getting around maps quicker, and I'm going to show you a really quick rush route here that I've got on Breach again to give you guys an example of what getting around quicker would look like. Now again, this is just a quick rush route. What we're going to do is I'm just going to practice getting across the entire map as quickly as I can. I'm going to use as many wall runs as I can because you're harder to shoot when you're wall running. And I'm going to focus myself on getting across the map using as many different spots where I'm harder to see. We're going to drop onto this lower wall run here, and then we're going to hit this kind of funky move up to a higher wall run, which gets us up to top AC. Now notice I have used Afterburner throughout the entire time. So Afterburner is sometimes necessary for you to improve your movement, but movement is so important. If you can get around the map like that, you can get into their spawn without them knowing where you came from, and that's so imperative to being able to basically get yourself in a good position. Position is everything. I will make a quick video very soon on ledge boosting and movement tips, how to get around quickly in Black Ops 3. If any of you want some tips and tricks on that stuff, I'll be making a video, so look out for that. But again, positioning is everything in Call of Duty, and if you can get yourself into good positions without getting shot, you're just going to win more gunfights than just having great aim but horrible movement. I'd take movement over aim any day. So let's move on to the next tip here. Number 5 is know your limits. Now this is a big thing. Know when to back down from a gunfight or not to challenge someone. Know when to push an objective and when to wait for more kills. Know when to rely on your teammates to get kills when you're low on health. The best players in Call of Duty know their own limits, and that's the reason they're so good, is because they know when to not challenge a gunfight that they know they're going to lose. They know when to not peek something when there's a thermal sniper staring down a hallway. Know your limits and know when to push, when to hold back. It's not always camping. You know, that's the thing, is people are afraid of quote-unquote camping. Sometimes it's okay to prone down in a corner if you're low on health. It's going to save your streak. It's going to keep you going in the game. It's okay, just do it, I guess is what I'm saying. But always know your limits. Don't ever, you know, obviously push your own limits, but don't ever ignore your limits, especially if you're playing in any kind of a competitive setting. Know yourself, know your weaknesses, know your strengths, and you know, sometimes rely on your team to accent your strengths and your weaknesses. So again, last time, just know your weaknesses. And the reason I keep saying this is because people always ask me, you know, what's the most important part? I feel like I'm a good player, but I'm not doing well in Call of Duty. And that's my biggest thing with people, is like, you don't know your own limits. You're challenging too many gunfights because you're insanely confident in your gun skill. Sometimes you need to know when to not challenge. Sometimes you need to know when to wait around a corner for an enemy to challenge you. Sometimes you need to wait for people to walk to you. Like, I didn't just push their spawn just then. I waited for those 2 people to walk into my sights, and then I wait till it's safe, and then I can push into the spawn. Because of that, I only die 4 times this game. So know your own limits. I'm not the best at it. I sometimes get arrogant and cocky, and sometimes, because I'm such an aggressive player, I push out way too hard too quickly, but it's a very important thing. So one more tip we've got for you here. Actually, we've got a few more, but one more coming up for you is number 6. Forget about your stats. Forget about your KD. Forget about improving, you know, the numbers, because at the end of the day, who really cares? Who really cares about your numbers? If you're trying to get on a team, no team should really care a ton about your numbers. You shouldn't get on a team based on your KD. It should be on your competitive experience and knowledge and things like that. But forget about your stats. You know, I find when I'm stressed about what my kill-death ratio is going to be at the end of the game, I don't play well. You know, I need to focus on other more important things. This game specifically, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but I got an obscene kill-death ratio and score per minute. And the entire game, I very rarely checked my scoreboard. I was not worried about it. I wasn't camping. I wasn't worried about my kill-death ratio. I was just rushing around like a madman, killing as many people as I can. Look, this is a perfect example right here of challenging high. Just fly out into their spawn there, because if there was someone there, they wouldn't be looking for me up in the air like that. But so number 6, again, just forget about your statistics. Forget about it. They're not doing you any favors. Worrying about it's not going to help you. If you have an obscenely high kill-death ratio, congratulations. That's amazing. But just, if you don't worry about it. Number 7 is practice and repetition. Just play a lot of Call of Duty. If this is your passion, like me, if you're like me and want to aspire to be a competitive player someday, a professional competitive Call of Duty player, play a lot. You know, play pubs, play 8s, play with other competitive players. But the biggest thing for me is play with and against players that are better than you. This challenges your skill level and allows you to kind of grow as a player, because you're learning things. Every time you get shit on in a public match or a competitive match, you know, you learn something. You learn something about how to play the game. You learn something new. Every time you have a bad game, you learn something. So play a lot and always keep learning. Don't ever assume you're the best you're going to be at Call of Duty. Always keep an open mind. Always assume that you can get better no matter how good you are. Because the reality is, none of us are gods. You know, none of us are really the best in the game. We all can learn from other players, different strategies and styles. Even players that are the best in the game, these top pro competitive players, they still can learn from other people's styles. So always keep learning. And the last thing I'm going to touch on here is that equipment can sometimes be important. I know this is hard for some people. You don't have $180 to put down on a Scuff and $250 to put down on a BenQ monitor and, you know, $300 Astros. Gaming equipment's expensive, but it can really make the difference, especially with movement. A Scuff really gives you the edge in this game. I can't emphasize that enough. The movement in this game, you'll be so dominant if you go from not having a Scuff, you know, with a decent game knowledge to having a Scuff. You'll dominate in this game. So equipment can sometimes make the difference, as much as I hate to say it. See, my movement saved me in that gunfight right there. That guy absolutely should have killed me, but just because I boosted as high as I could in the air, I was able to win that gunfight. But anyways, equipment can sometimes help you out, is what I'm trying to say. Spend the money. It's worth it if you're serious about the game. You know, Christmas, birthday presents, whatever you can do. That RC almost ended my life. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Again, look out for a series about each map and each game mode coming out. I'm going to be hitting you guys with some tips, more in-depth and detail. This is more of a general video, so I hope you enjoyed the game. 84-4. On Nuketown Hardpoint. This was a record for me, so hope you guys enjoyed the tips, and if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments.